I paid her to say that. Hello, Sunshiners!
Hello!
Good evening!
Good evening!
And a happy Diwali!
Happy Diwali!
Thank you! Taking the cue from the theme, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. As our President Vijayalakshmi pointed out, that Sri Ram came back after 14 years of exile. During these 14 years, he did a lot of service, a lot of good for the mankind. And when he came back, he had driven darkness with the light within him. He had removed the hate with the love he carried. And personifying his love and strength of removing the darkness, people welcomed him as Purushottam, the ideal human being, Ram. And the lights were there to welcome him because he was the personification of light. In the same spirit, I asked this question. I first asked our President Vijayalakshmi, and she said, "You are not going to introduce me." I said, "You don't know what I am going to say." I said, "In the past year, have you done something to make a difference in somebody's life? Or do you plan to do so in the next year?" And very humbly, she said, they have been contributing decent amounts towards eradication of polio in India. And I work with the victims of polio. When a person or a child is afflicted with polio, not only does that person suffer, the whole family suffers. Not only the family suffers, his or her next generation suffers too. And when you contribute to that, you are not contributing to just one human being. You are contributing to the entire family, present and future. Can we applaud Ms. Vijayalakshmi and her family for this? There are only two speeches today. I'm going to entertain you with something. And this is, English is a very interesting and funny language. In India, we have so many accents. We have a Punjabi accent. If I see you twinkle, twinkle in Punjabi accent, it will go like this. Oi twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder what you are. That's the Punjabi accent. Then there is a Bengali accent. Then there is a South Indian accent. And my wife is from Kerala, so she has a South Indian accent. She was a nurse and she went to New York. And she was standing over an old American patient and wanted to know, have you taken your medication? No, I don't know. I cannot speak Malayalam, so my accent is not Malayalam. She said it 3 times. And the poor old American woman said, "Honey, I speak English only." Well, that's the accent. Besides accent, we play this game with you. We'll begin with a box. And the plural of box is?
Boxes.
But the plural of ox becomes oxen, but not?
Oxes.
Oxes. One fowl is a goose, but 2 are called geese. Yet the plural of moose should never be? Meese. mouse or a nest full of mice, yet the plural of house is houses and not mice. Okay, let me now, I'll continue with this later on and we'll have fun with this. In the meantime, the general evaluator. I asked him, I said, Mr. General Evaluator, same question. Have you done anything in the last year or proposed to do something in the next year to make a change in somebody's life? What a beautiful, beautiful answer he gave. He said, you know, I have donated blood twice this year. And, wait, there's something more coming. And he has donated milk to an institution called Home of Hope. The milk is good enough for 10 to 12 days for the abandoned aged old people and abandoned children. And will you please put your hands together and applaud for Mr. Prashant for such a noble thing he did. Mr. General Evaluator.
Good evening, Toastmasters.
Good evening.
Diwali reminds me of the dire consequences of messing up with somebody else's wife. Because Ravana did that mistake in Treta Yuga, and we are all celebrating because of Ravana's death. I'll be touching upon these small aspects of the other side of Diwali, apart from what people have been doing here in my report at the end of the meeting. As a general evaluator, my role today is to evaluate the meeting right from the beginning till the end of the meeting. And to help me do this role, I have a few role takers with me here. Can I ask Timer Akash to explain his role, please?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Today I have taken up the role of timer. My job is to time each of the speeches, the evaluation and the table topic speeches to see that they don't exceed the time limit. I'll show the green card at 5 minutes, the amber card at 6 and the red at 7. And I'll hold up the red until you stop speaking. The same holds good for table topics. I shall hold the green at 1 minute, the amber at 1.5 minutes and the red at 2 minutes. And I will continue holding it until you stop speaking. And for the evaluator, I shall hold the green at 2, amber at 2.5 and red at 3. And please note, do not exceed the speech by too much. There is a plus or minus 30 seconds which is given, but don't exceed it beyond that. Thank you.
Can I have an R counter? Read out this motion.
Hello everybody.
Okay.
1 hour. 1 hour.
Today my role as our counter is to count number of hours and filler words, unnecessary hours used over there. So and so that I'm going to report it back to the general guide. Thank you.
Don't be stingy with your applause.
Can I have the grammarian read out his role, please? Give a big round of applause.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening.
I am the grammarian for today's meeting. The word of the day is lucent, which means bright, brilliant, and dazzling. Her heart was as lucent as the moon. As an example of how you could use the word lucent. In the section O, the English language, we have the word quivering, which is pronounced quivering and not quivering or quivering as some people pronounce it. Quivering. Back of the G. I will be noting on good and bad usage. recording of good and bad usage of the English language and will report it at the end of the meeting.
Last but not the least, listener of the day, Srinivas.
Yeah, good evening everyone. Good evening. As a listener, I'll be testing your listening skills. I'll be capturing the important information spoken by all the speakers and frame the questions at the end of the session and called upon the general evaluator. Whoever answers more questions correctly, they will walk home with best listener award.
I'll come back here with the report of the entire meeting at the end of the session. Back to MC. Thank you.